Hey guys, Kev here, and I want to do my full review on the Giantmouse GM8. So this was loaned into me by a buddy, Stevie _Wonder_Woman, I think. Stevie Wonder Woman, yeah, on Instagram. I'll link it below. I always get that shit wrong. Totally hooked it up here, offered to send this to me. I really appreciate it. He even told me to take it apart. He sent skiff bearings so I could swap them out and try them. Really cool dude. Been getting to know him a little bit through the live streams and such. He lives in the Pacific Northwest. Anyway, I appreciate you sending this in, man. And yeah, so I've had this knife for a couple weeks. I've fiddled around with it. I've taken it apart. Put the bearings in, I played with it, and what do I think? So I guess we could just get into the full review, huh? Aesthetically, I think it's a good looking knife. I really like the Bowie blade. Some people might call it a trailing point. I think it kind of looks like a Bowie buoy. You have this really, really nice looking milling on the scales, these titanium scales. This is part of the GM line, which I think is like that's their fancy line. They make a certain number of them and then that's it. You know, they move on. I think they do certain like very special ones that have like pirate themes. And those are even more expensive. I'm pretty sure this was like a $400 knife. It's made in Italy. So that's probably my biggest gripe with this knife, is that it's made in Italy. Had this knife been made in China by Riot, I think this would be a fantastic knife. I think the design, again, aesthetics, is gorgeous. I love the pill-shaped hole, love the blade, I love the satin finish on it. It's very, very nicely done. Nice belt satin, not a Riot-looking satin. That should have been a giveaway when I first got it. I wasn't sure who made it when I first got it. But now we know it's Italy, probably Makita or a bunch of, companies over there. They all, sleep in each other's bed, so to speak. Very nice. Has a crown spine until you get past this little ramp right here, and then it goes into kind of a tapered spine the rest of the way. Very cool. Again, the milling is awesome, and then you can see that clip is gorgeous. The hardware is very well done. Very nice pivot collars. Nice colors as well. It's like a gray on the scales, and then a bluish, purpley blue. It's a blue on the ano and everything. And there's your GM logo right here on the clip. As for branding, I mean, that's it. You get that little GM mouse on the clip. And that's it. Inside on the scales, there's a little more in there. I think it says, Vox Anso, blah, blah. Made in Italy. This is number 207. You can see it right there. I don't know how many they make. 500 maybe. They have another version of this, the GMP8, I think. So I don't know if they did 250 of each or 500 of each. Who knows? I'm sure they're sold out by now. The centering on this is off. Now, this is after I put the skiff bearings in, and there's no blade play, and the action is decent. Not great, but decent. And the centering is a bit off to the clip side there, you can see. So, I don't know what's up with that. Maybe the stock bearings, it prefers the stock bearings. I don't know. I'll talk to Stevie before I send it and see if he wants me to try to get that out or fix it or whatever before I send it back. I think he might end up selling this anyway, but yeah. So anyway, aesthetically, cool. I like it. Really good looking knife. Thin, just a good looking knife. That's the best way for me to explain that category. Ergonomics. So if I hold it in this grip back here, very comfortable. I mean, I feel the clip right here, but I'm left-handed. So if you're right-handed, it is a very flat clip, low clip. It doesn't, you feel it obviously, but that's it. It's very good. The ergonomics are fantastic. It's a larger knife. It's not huge, but I venture to guess it's about a 3.5-inch blade, and then probably a 4.5-inch handle. So I mean, you got a good amount of grip here, which is awesome. You do have this kind of choily area up here, but it's not like made to be a choil, I don't think. But it for sure works. Kind of like a flipper choil that I kind of have named it. Finch does that very well. So you could definitely hold it up here to choke up and get more control with the blade. That gets us into cutting. So, I mean, I really just cut some paper and stuff like that with this. I actually don't know the steel. I might have at one point. My guess would be M390, considering Italy, considering everything. I just would guess M390. So I'm sure it is M390, but they did actually put a very, very sharp edge on this. Very nicely done. I think it comes down to a thin edge. They did a great job on this blade. I really enjoyed the very minor cutting I did with it. Paper, opened a package or two, and a little bit of cardboard just to check it, you know. But I didn't do anything heavy, you know, just to be careful. And then I just used alcohol to wipe it down when I was done. Yeah, it cuts really good. I do hate trailing point slash, I guess, Bowie. I don't know. Maybe this is just a trailing point, Persian style. I just don't like them because I cut a lot of labels out, I open packages, and I really like the tip. And having a warney or drop point where the tip is down lower is just nice. It's just easier to get into things. A Tanto, I can use that secondary tip. With a trailing point, you know, I'm like doing this or whatever, and it just, I just don't like it. That's why I don't like that style of blade. I also don't think it's the best looking blade style. This one's sexy. But a lot of the trailing points are just like ugly, like that Tucson button lock, the Tucson 305, I think it is, that has a trailing point. Just not my jam, baby. It's not my bag, baby. Would you like to shag now or shag later? Oh boy. Yeah. So, what do we talk about? Ergos, cutting. Oh, carry. So this clip is very nicely done. It's not deep carry, but you have very little sticking out. I've been carrying it in my back left pocket. Has good retention, goes in pocket nicely, out of pocket nicely, stays in pocket very well. The milling on the scales does not cause any issue with the clip. It's not a heavy knife. It's not a light knife. I mean, it's full titanium. I don't believe it's milled out. Nope, it's not milled out. So you're probably looking at, you know, 4.5 ounces on this guy. Maybe 5, I don't know. But it doesn't carry heavy or anything. I never really noticed it back there. It's actually a pleasure to carry. It's very thin. The flipper tab doesn't stick out very far. You can see the flipper there has a very nice design. Kind of has a Laconico-esque design, except for this last little tip kind of juts out and it catches your finger on there. So if the detent were too strong, this flipper may hurt, but it's not. The problem with this knife is the detent is too light. It's just not dialed for everything. So like lefty reverse flick is very good because you're putting pressure on the lock bar with your thumb and you're adding detent essentially. You're making the detent stronger by doing that. Right-handed, you can see it's just not very strong, this detent. Now, if I give it the flick, it'll come out. I mean, it's not like the end of the world type detent. You can definitely, it's serviceable, right? So a lot of people won't mind it. Flipper tab, you know, you can fail it real easy there as well. Again, if you give it the gas, it's fine. I will say, like I pointed out, that little jut right there, it actually does hurt after a while, even with the weak detent, because it's just this poke, it's literally poking the shit out of me. And I really don't like that. If I owned this knife, if it was like some keeper I really liked, I would somehow get that, maybe sand it off. It's a sharp corner. I mean, it is a very sharp corner. Catches. And I could definitely see if you carried this in pocket, if you were right-handed and you reached past it, when you're coming out, that fucker could catch you and hurt. I mean, it's very sharp. They should have definitely done a better job on that. All right. I think we talked everything but, oh, sounds. Oops, see how light it is? It just bounced off when I did that. Sounds aren't bad. It's just, again, with that weak detent, it's not gonna thunder out and kind of clack close, but it's not bad. It's probably, I'd say it's a 6 out of 10 in sounds. Action. So we got into the detent being light, and I showed you all the flicks and everything, so we kind of went over action. Closing action, you know, it drops, which is nice, but then you're shaking, right? And this is on skiffs, which fit well, other than the centering thing. But it's not like when I push the lock bar over that it free drops. It kind of still has to glide down to my thumb because there's resistance there. I don't know what it is, but it's there. But for all intents and purposes, for, you know, 90% of people, they probably would like the action on this. You're not going to like the detent probably, but you might like the action overall. I prefer something with more of a drop shut, less shaky. If you're left-handed, this is not a bad option because that reverse flick is so comfortable with this detent. Now, I can't speak to all the other ones because that's the problem with Italy. You know, they'll have this one that's fucking super light, and then Joe Schmo will have one that he can't even open because the detent is so fucking stiff, you know? So it comes down to it. But if you have one with the weak detent, being left-handed is a positive in this case because I get a very, very satisfying reverse flick with this knife because of that. So, you know, it has its give and take there. So yeah, I mean, overall, this knife is interesting. It's a cool knife. I love the design. I think they built it well in terms of construction and everything. They just did not nail some of the key aspects like the detent, the action. This flipper tab, man, it hurts. It really does. I honestly might ground it off and just have like a nice choil right here, right? Because if you got a thumb flick knife, you know, or a reverse flick knife, I don't really need a flipper, especially one that sucks with a light detent. You know, if you got rid of the flipper tab on this, this detent might all of a sudden feel a lot better to people, you know? So that's a thought. But anyway, yeah, my overall thoughts are cool knife, $400. You know, I get the price point for the materials and where it's made and all that shit. Just the execution wasn't perfect, right? Which sucks when you spend that much money and it's a limited type knife. You know, you're not gonna just get another one probably. So yeah, but it's cool. I see the point. I get why people like it. I now understand why people have the whole GM line, because these are very cool and unique. I definitely see that. I love that milling. They definitely put some effort into coming up with unique design aspects so that you feel special when you get a GM line knife. And I totally get that. Compared to the Ace line, this is awesome. So that's my full review, guys, on the GM8 from Giantmouse Knives. Again, big shout out and thank you to Stevie_Wonder_woman on Instagram. Appreciate it, brother. I'm gonna get this back to you along with the knife that you bought off me. And yeah, so I love you guys. I appreciate you letting me rant and rave as usual. I hope you have an absolutely fantastic day, and I will catch you later.